I took a road trip to my uncle's for a family reunion. I lived around 12 hours away, and the trip is about a day and a half of driving comfortably and 2 full days not pushing. This drive I've done before and hated it every time because of how incredibly boring most of it was. My uncle lives on a small farm that was in the middle of nowhere, so a big portion of the drive was through open fields. After hours and hours of the same scenery, it always got boring the first half of the drive from where I lived in the suburbs. The drive was on the typical highway that mostly everyone takes if they were headed in or out of the major city. I merged off of that highway, and I guess it was still a highway, but only one lane and way less people drove on it, not even truckers or anything. Just mainly for the locals to get out to their farms and other smaller towns. I made it to this part around 7 or 8 at night, so I wasn't planning to drive too much longer. The road was completely dark and empty, just my headlights lighting up the way. I hadn't seen a single car in over an hour. I eventually come up to a small gas station. I figured it was better than not and pulled in. This gas station was extremely old. It looks like it was just some sort of family-owned place in the middle of nowhere. The gas station's lights were on, and I was able to use the pump to top off my tank. Out here you do not want to run out. By this time I was worn out from the drive and needed a quick nap. So I pulled my truck over on the side of the building and headed inside and was going to ask if I could sleep for a few hours in their parking lot when I walked in and there was a man standing behind the counter. He looked at me with a weird face and almost like he was taken back by me walking in. I guess customers don't usually stop by this late. I asked him if I could park for a couple hours. He mentioned to me that the station was closing in 15 minutes and he would be leaving, but if I was comfortable staying in the parking lot alone, then he didn't mind. I thanked him and bought a couple drinks and snacks to munch on, then headed back out to my truck, but I replayed what he said in my head, and I thought it was kind of weird the way he said if I was comfortable. It sounded like he was saying I really shouldn't be, and that most people around here wouldn't be comfortable staying here after closing. I figured maybe he meant that most people just didn't sleep in their vehicles, and not sleeping in my truck here specifically is the problem. I got back in my truck, setting an alarm for 2 a.m., which was about 3 hours from now. After 20 minutes, I saw the guy lock up the gas station doors and his car drive away. I looked around, and now, without the gas station lights on, it was pitch black and extremely, extremely quiet. I closed my eyes again, honestly. I'm unsure whether I fell asleep because my eyes were closed, when I suddenly heard the sound of tires pulling into the gravel outside of the gas station. They got closer and closer until I eventually opened my eyes to see what was a dark-colored car pull right next to my truck. What the hell were they doing here? None of their headlights were on, and I could not see the driver or anything other than the car outlined by the darkness around me. I felt like there's a chance whoever was in there could see me, and really made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't want to take any chances, so I quickly put my seat back up, turned my truck on, and drove out of there. I hoped it was nothing, but the way it all happened felt really strange. An empty gas station in the middle of nowhere, and a car decides to pull in with all lights off and pull right up to my truck. I barely got a quarter mile away from the gas station before I hit something. I only got a glimpse of it. Whatever it was, it sounded bad. I pulled off to the shoulder of the road so I could get out and take a look at or if there was any damage. I noticed how cold it was and how the wind was blowing as I walked down the road, and then saw like a large black bag in the roadway. I didn't even get close enough to it before hearing the sound of tires pushing through the gravel down the road. I looked up and saw nothing but pitch black as the sound got closer. I ran back to my truck and was looking in my mirrors as the sound got even louder. That car suddenly appeared out of the darkness. It looked like they were going fast, speeding right past the object in the road and suddenly slamming on their brakes and stopping behind my truck. Both doors opened and 2 men jumped out. By then I was already flooring it back down the road, and I couldn't believe how much my hands were shaking as I tried to call 911. Then the call dropped. I look at my phone and it had no signal. Thankfully, I don't think the car continued to follow me though, as I never saw them again. That road went on for 45 minutes before I found a different road to get on and with a more populated area. The rest of the drive and the entire trip I was genuinely horrified of might have happened to me. I don't know what I saw in the middle of the road. I never took that way ever again.